welcome back. Like I said in the last thing I recorded, which I don't know why I recorded the NFL first. I should have recorded these first, but anyway. We just finished week 2, right, of the NCAA season. So let's go over week 2, all the games. I'll talk about them a little bit if they're kind of interesting or if they were interesting games and kind of go over what I thought would happen in them. And then we'll go ahead and go over week 3, like I always do and like the title of this video says we do. Anyway, so Louisville beat Murray State. Not surprised. Indiana beat Indiana State. Not surprised. Kansas beat Illinois. Not surprised. Wake Forest at home beat Vanderbilt. Not surprised, although that game was closer than I thought it should have been. Same thing with Boston College and Holy Cross, by the way. Utah beat Baylor. That game was also closer than I thought it should have been. Colorado beat Nebraska. This doesn't surprise me. This was one of those games. I actually had Coach Prime going, I believe, 3-9, and this was one of the games that I had him winning. Or maybe I had him 4-8. It was either 4-8 or 3-9, but I did have them beating Nebraska. So that doesn't change. Kansas State beat Troy. Unsurprising. I was high on NC State this year, and they lost to Notre Dame. Not just lost, they got fucking demolished by Notre Dame. And so, I'm higher on Notre Dame. I'm not going to lie. I'm getting a little higher on Notre Dame. At the start of the season, I was not very high on them. I didn't think their quarterback would be able to play real ball against a lot of these teams. But realistically, with what they did against NC State, I can't hold them back at this point anymore. I can hold Ohio State back, and I wouldn't put them anywhere near the playoffs if it was just based on these first 2 games of the season. They looked ugly. And I do mean ugly. Like LSU's defense, ugly. But fucking Ohio State's entire team looks ugly. They're not putting up large numbers against teams that they should. And they're not... defensively, they're kind of holding up to a point. Look, I don't know. They have to prove it to me, and the problem is they're not going to be proving it to me until they play Penn State or Michigan. Realistically. Anyway, speaking of that, Penn State won their game this week against Delaware, blew them out, unsurprisingly. Same thing for Georgia. Army beat Delaware State. I didn't even watch that game. I don't even think that game was recorded. James Madison upset Virginia. Good for you guys, man. Good for you guys. Purdue beat Virginia Tech. Georgia Tech beat South Carolina State. Central Michigan beat New Hampshire. Bowling Green beat Eastern Illinois. Clemson beat Charleston Southern. This game was close until halftime, kind of like the Northwestern State game a couple of years ago with LSU. And then Clemson just came out after halftime, made adjustments, and beat the shit out of them. Kind of like what LSU did also with Grambling this week, but we'll get to that. BYU, beat Utah, or beat Southern Utah. Not surprising. Kentucky, what the fuck is up with your offense, man? That was an ass of a performance. That was terrible. Anyway, I digress. I don't even want to go more in depth into that game because Kentucky just looked like shit. They just looked bad. They just looked bad against an inferior opponent. And that's my pet peeve with this. Iowa, Michigan State, unsurprisingly. Southern Illinois beat Northern Illinois. That's surprising. Northwestern beat UTEP. That's also surprising. I think I had UTEP winning that one. Navy beat Wagner. Syracuse beat Western Michigan. Ole Miss beat Tulane in a way that I thought that it realistically wouldn't happen. Right? I thought Tulane was better than that, but they just got their ass beat, man. I'm not going to lie. Miami beat Texas A&M. Go Hurricanes, man. that's all I'm going to say. Go fucking Hurricanes. Look, I'm all up for any SEC team taking a fucking loss. You know, I'm happy when they win, right? But I'm more happy when they lose because it means that they're behind us. For sure. Michigan beat UNLV, blew them out, unsurprising. Miami, Ohio beat UMass. I was surprised by that. Toledo beat Texas Southern. And then UTSA beat Texas State. Marshall beat East Carolina. San Jose State beat Cal Poly. Kent State beat Arkansas, lost to Arkansas. That's not surprising. Wyoming beat Portland State. South Alabama beat Southeastern. Tennessee beat Austin Peay. This one was an ugly game early. Washington beat Tulsa, another ugly game early. NC State beat Appalachia State. These three are all ugly as fuck. Duke beating Lafayette, unsurprising. Also, great to have you guys back in football, Duke. I'm honest. We have not had Duke play well in a long time, and it is a great refresher. Because I'm tired of seeing fucking Clemson be the best team in that, division. It got old quick. Anyway, I digress. Georgia Southern, UAB. What the fuck? Well, UAB is trash, I guess. Liberty, New Mexico State, Old Dominion beat ULL. That's right. I shit on my friends so hard whenever that happened. Because if you guys don't know, obviously I'm an LSU fan, but I have plenty of friends that go to ULL. And whenever they lost to Old Dominion, look, whenever we lost to Florida, it was everywhere. All right, so I said, fuck it. They just lost to Old Dominion. Let's throw some fucking jokes at them. Now, that was hilarious. Anyway, Oklahoma beat SMU. Unsurprising. Fordham beat Buffalo. That's weird. Akron beat Morgan State. Unsurprising. West Virginia beat Duquesne. Unsurprising. FIU beat North Texas. That's interesting. Cincinnati beat Pittsburgh. That was a good game. Memphis beat Arkansas State. UCF beat Boise State. This one was pretty close. I watched this one too. Coastal Carolina beat Jacksonville State. Georgia State beat UConn. Louisiana Tech beat Northwestern State. Missouri beat Middle Tennessee. Rice beat Houston. This was a huge upset. This was a huge fucking upset. I could not believe Rice won this. Oregon beat Texas Tech. This game was also closer than what I thought it would be. This game I loved to watch. Like I said, LSU fan, I just loved seeing Bama getting their ass beat this week. And it shows that they are not invincible. So Brian Kelly, let's win it in year 2 as well. And let's win out and try to get a playoff berth. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be interesting. Idaho beat Nevada, unsurprising. South Florida beat Florida A&M, unsurprising. Western Kentucky beat Houston Christian. LSU obliterated Grambling. Let's go ahead and get into this a little bit because it is my team. Defensively, we looked ugly early. And I do mean early. Early in the second quarter, I believe it was still 14-10. This was a complete after halftime game. Anyway, Mississippi State beat Arizona. Yes, sir. Rutgers beat Temple. South Carolina beat Furman. Unsurprising. UCLA beat San Diego State. Florida bounced back with a McNeese State win. Maryland beat Charlotte. Minnesota beat Eastern Carolina. Washington beat Wisconsin. Air Force beat Sam Houston. TCU beat Nichols. A&M beat Lamar. New Mexico beat Texas Tech. Utah State beat Idaho State. Florida State beat Southern Mississippi. Fresno State beat Eastern Washington. Oregon State demolished UC Davis. OSU beat Arizona State. Auburn beat Cal. That was a good win. USC beat Stanford. That was a blowout. And Albany lost to Hawaii. Okay, so let's go ahead. That's a week 3, and we're going to go into getting the predictions rolling. Miami beats Bethune-Cookman, obviously. Memphis probably knocks off Navy at home. I'll say Maryland probably beats Virginia. Army probably goes on the road. Triple option always is a bit of a bitch, and they probably beat UTSA. Air Force beats Utah State. Florida State beats Boston College. Boise State beats North Dakota. Baylor beats Long Island. Louisville beats Indiana. I'm going to go Kent State. I'm going to go LSU on the road over Mississippi State. That's an interesting game, but these are just predictions, so I'm not going to go much more in depth. I'll kind of break it down next week if it's close, but if it's not, I probably won't. I think Kansas State goes on the road and gets a win in Missouri. I think Wake Forest beats Old Dominion, and I think Iowa State beats Ohio. I think Liberty goes on the road, beats Buffalo. Penn State goes on the road, beats Iowa, or not Iowa, Illinois. Wisconsin at home beats Georgia Southern. Ball State probably beats Indiana State. UMass probably beats Eastern Michigan. NC State should beat VMI. Temple should beat Norfolk. Utah should beat Weber. Notre Dame should beat Central Michigan. Appalachian State. I got Duke over Northwestern. Oregon State over San Diego State. I got Virginia Tech over Rutgers. FIU over UConn. Georgia over South Carolina. NC over Minnesota. Alabama over South Florida. Iowa over Western Michigan. Oklahoma over Tulsa. Ohio State over Western Kentucky. Tennessee over UL Monroe. Or Texas A&M, not Tennessee. Cal over Idaho. Tulane over Southern Miss. Michigan State over Washington. UCLA over North Carolina Central. Washington State over North Colorado. I'm going to go Charlotte, actually, here. I think Charlotte probably beats Georgia State. UCF beats Villanova. Arkansas State beats Stony Brook. Auburn beats Samford. Coastal Carolina beats Duquesne. Louisiana State beats North Texas. Middle Tennessee beats Murray. Oklahoma State beats South Alabama. I think Rice goes on the road, beats Texas, or at home beats Texas Southern. SMU beats Prairie View. Texas Tech beats Tarleton State, which is another Texas school. James Madison goes on the road and beats Troy. Let's go ahead and pull up some more games here. I think UAB probably beats ULL. Cincy wins here. Tennessee beats Florida. Nebraska should beat Northern Illinois after seeing what a fucking shit team they actually are this season. Let's see here. Vanderbilt probably wins against UNLV. They've been playing pretty good in the early seasons, or in the early games. San Jose State probably beats... No, I'm going to give Toledo that game. Purdue over Syracuse. Arkansas over BYU. Kentucky over Akron. Michigan over Bowling Green. Ole Miss over Georgia Tech. Pittsburgh over West Virginia. Clemson over FIU, although not really like a blowout by any means. I think Clemson still struggles with this game. Stanford over Sacramento State. Houston over TCU. I have TCU pretty low this season. I'm still saying New Mexico over New Mexico State. Oregon over Hawaii. Texas over Wyoming. Jackson State probably goes on the road, beats Texas State. Colorado beats Colorado State. 3-0 Dion. And let's see. I'm going to go Arizona State over Fresno State. Them over Nevada. And Arizona over UTEP. UTEP. Okay, so this is my week 3 predictions. As we see, a ton of home games still. But we are beginning to get into play. LSU has their first SEC game this week. And a lot of other teams have are beginning to get into that start of the harder parts of their schedule. So soon these home teams' easy wins won't be so easy. Anyway, hopefully you all did enjoy. If you make sure to like, make sure to comment, subscribe. I'll be doing this all year. Goodbye.